What's up, fellas? Little recap, little follow-up video on the Banshee. So today was a couple of miscellaneous things. Like I said in the first one, I'm going to do a little tune-up, clean up, go through it, check some all the nuts and bolts. When I built the bike originally, we used either nylock on everything, nylock nuts, or we used thread lock on everything. Some guys use blue, and it's good. I've had blue loosen up. I'll use red. Some guys will say, don't use red. It'll destroy the threads when you go to take it apart. And there's some truth to that. But if you put a little heat on the bolt, they'll come right out. And it's just kind of good insurance. Anyone that owns a two-stroke or a Banshee knows they're notorious for things vibrating loose. I found a couple of missing bolts, which will get addressed. And today was the beginning of the tune-up. So just did fresh set of plugs in it, kind of rerouted the wires. They were not in a great place. The NGKs run a little long from the coil, which is nice to have the, flexibility or whatever, but technically they're too long, so you got to kind of coil them up, keep them away from the pipes. And so first set of plugs, pulled the carb, cleaned that out, and I'm glad I pulled it and cleaned it. This is actually my other carb from when I was running a set of the 35s, new fuel line. How I got into getting going from one carb to the other was when I broke that one down. This is my other one, and went to take the main jet out of it, and it twisted right off. I had to get the threads out of it with a little tiny easy out. It was just corroded. Inside of the carb really wasn't bad, but it just the main jet, which is right there. Let's see if I can give you. There it is right there. See, the threads just twisted right off of it. Inside of it's pretty corroded. And kind of tough to get it to focus on that little. Yeah, you get the point. So I threw my other carb on it. I do keep a box of assorted main jets and needles and pilots. I went through that, and I didn't have any. The main jets and these are 148s. But more than fine. I went over to this carb, which was really way cleaner. Still cleaned it all out, broke it down, made sure everything was good. Got that addressed. So plugs, did an oil change on it, carbs cleaned, new fuel line. One of the things I need to do is I run a pingle valve on this bike, and the second outlet, when you go to a single carb, you've got one line, so you got to cap off the other outlet off of the pingle valve. And I had this Y on there with a loop of tube because I couldn't find a plug for this ID fuel line that I have, which I think is like 5/16. So I got to run out, catch a couple errands. I'm going to try to find one of those, and I'll get the other half of this pingle, if you can see it in there, get that capped off, and mixed up a fresh batch of fuel, just some 93 with clots, fresh fuel, fresh oil, and that there will be ready to throw some of that in there. And then, of course, how it goes, I ordered the rebuild for the front master cylinder, and it's the wrong year. Apparently this one's 87 to 01, and it's got a different style plunger in it compared to that one, as you can see. And there's all the seals that are kind of wiped out. But I got the lever bead blasted and cleaned up, ready for paint. Master's cleaned up, ready for paint. Everything else looks fine. So I'm going to go ahead and try to find the other rebuild kit, order that today for the master, and get that going. And so coming along, I just figured I'd make a quick video. Nice to get a couple things done on it. Maybe if all goes well, I fire it up by the weekend. Take it for a little rip. I'll make a video on that, even though even though there won't be any front brakes. But more than fine. The backs work. I'm probably going to get into the backs also, the rear master, because if I remember correctly, I think once upon a time it was weeping. It's always worked fine, and I don't use the back brake really at all, if we're being honest. Very rare. I got to be trying to get out of it pretty quick to get on the front and the rear. But I don't know, once I ride it, pump it a little bit, I'll see if it is, and then if that's the case, then I'll rebuild that also. And for you Banshee guys, there's something that you guys probably never seen before. You ever seen a Banshee with a trunk? It's one of my very first aluminum welding projects I did years ago. Little storage compartment, since these really don't have a adequate enough space to carry a bunch of stuff. Built my own plug wrench out of a miscellaneous socket and an open end wrench. Just welded it on there, and it's got a little angle to it, as you can see, so it fits in there really well, clears the pipe really well. And that little compartment, man, it's good. You can throw a bunch of stuff in there. I keep that wrench wrapped in a rag and extra plugs, cigarettes, lighter, wallet, all kinds of stuff, because as we all know, well, maybe now they do, but forever, I always said I'm going to be the guy that invents riding pants with pockets, because when you go to a place that's like a pay to ride or something like that, and they have a pro shop, and they have food, and they have fuel, and you got your money in your sock, you know, which has always been a pain in the ass. So I made a little trunk to hold all my stuff, and it's always worked out pretty well. But yeah, I'm going to keep going through it, try to get this master set ordered, and maybe we'll make a little video over the weekend and take her out for a little rip. Tater chip. Talk to you guys soon.